Mine has gone from walking and running to not being able to run, to walking with a limp, to using one cane, to using two canes. I work as an educator and a superintendent in Udine schools. Well, when I first started, I was being treated for inner ear infection or fluid in it, and they were trying some special techniques to try to make sure my hearing was okay. But I began having problems with my feet and a little bit of numbness, and then I began having cramps, like a seizure in my leg from about my waist on down. Finally went to a neurologist after many trials with doctors, and he did an MRI and a spinal tap, and he found a spot about the size of a pea or a bean on my spinal cord. So they started putting me through tests, and I went through many tests. Went to a disease specialist, and they found nothing. The numbness continued and progressively started working its way up from my feet. I was finally diagnosed with multiple sclerosis at Johns Hopkins. I went there by myself almost 3 years ago. They looked at the MRIs and everything else and said, yeah, you have it. It didn't really hit me too much till I walked and had to wait in the airport for a while. And I got on a plane, and I was by myself, and I kind of wanted to be by myself. I do the worst possible and the best possible. But you think about, how am I going to take care of my kids, my grandkids, and my wife? It is pretty disturbing to me. Mine is probably progressive. I've had the tingling and the numbness all the way up to about my chest. And now I have numbness in my hands. It first changed my gait when I had a slight limp. Then I began using a cane. I started out with an umbrella or whatever is there, and the office staff said, Mr. Clark, would you quit that? It eventually got to the point where my left leg was dragging, and I could not pick my foot up. And that's how I'd measure it. It finally became more numb in my hands. And it's interesting with this hand, if I can't see it, I don't know where at least the last three fingers are. My knee will give out. It's been doing that for about 2 years. You just fall like a rock. I'm real good at falling now. I didn't want to carry a cane, but a cane's better than a wheelchair. One cane was better than two canes. I am starting to sit in a wheelchair. I am allowing myself to be pushed. I used a little scooter in Lowe's. My wife shamed me for about 4 months until I just got tired. So I got in it, and it works. But I do realize also there are a lot of wonderful people out there that would see people in need, and I just always didn't want to be the one in need. Prognosis is not real good. Eventually I'll be bedridden. So will most people. Mine just comes a little sooner. I don't fear for things myself, but that'd be the most fearful, is that you are laying there and you can't do anything. That is fearful. But I think there has to be at least an understanding and a resignation that this is going to happen. How are you going to make the best of it? When you live the way you're supposed to live, God feeds you what you need. I don't know. Maybe Pat Clark needed some of this. But I think you look at what yourself and you do and your purpose and how I've treated people in my family. My relationship with my wife is strong. I guess I better be, because she's going to take care of me, and I better be nice to her. You take things for granted, and now you don't take things for granted. I always used to tell people, only you can make yourself depressed. Dang, boy, I wish I really have a hard time living with that one now. But it is true. You always think there's no good time to retire, but my principals and my staff can take care of it, and they probably cover for me more than I know. Maybe that's a benefit of it. Maybe multiple sclerosis is those suckers have to do that one. I'm not helping like I feel I should. And it's time I do more with my family. and rest my body a little bit more.